Welcome back to the deep dive. We are really glad you could join us today.
We are. Today we're digging into something pretty interesting, a proprietary service called the Monetical 360-degree digital consulting self-service offering.
Exactly. And if you're listening, you're probably looking for that shortcut to, real knowledge without all the noise.
For sure. Our mission here is to understand how this service claims to solve two huge problems. First, just information overload, and second, being so dependent on outside consultants.
Right, especially when you're trying to get these big digital transformation projects off the ground.
It's an aggressive claim, really. Can you actually get tailored, expert-level advice instantly without the slow human bottleneck of traditional consulting?
That's the question. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's jump right into the core argument. So the biggest promise, the central claim in all this material is that your program teams can finally succeed without being dependent on external consultants.
And that phrase, cutting the consultant cord, that's a powerful idea for any organization.
It really is. It speaks to a major pain point.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, you think about the inefficiency. You can spend weeks, sometimes months, just getting external people up to speed on what you do.
Before you even get the advice you're paying for.
Exactly.
And the way Monetical does it, the mechanism is designed to just skip that whole delay. Instead of buying someone's time, you get real-time curated expert advice.
Which is a different model entirely.
It is. You just describe what your program is trying to do, and the system creates what they call an initiative schedule of advice so that you can achieve them.
And that schedule, that's the key. That's the structural shift. It's basically a replacement for that expensive 3-month discovery phase you'd get from a human team.
So it's about solving the structured problems, the technical roadmaps, the best practices, and doing it right away.
Instantly. It's a huge aha moment for efficiency because it just respects the team's time by giving them a clear path forward from day one.
But that does bring up a question, doesn't it? If the advice is instant, how good can it be? I mean, garbage in, garbage out, right?
That's the skepticism you have to have. If a team doesn't describe its goals perfectly, what happens then?
Does the whole schedule just fall apart?
Well, that's why we have to look at where the knowledge actually comes from. The engine behind it all has to be incredibly robust for this to work.
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just scraping the web. The expertise comes from what the sources call a trusted and enriched digital consulting library.
This is the secret sauce, the intellectual property.
It has to be.
And if you look at how it was built, that's where the trust factor comes in. It's based on a decade of meticulously documented work.
A decade.
10 years of designing, implementing, and optimizing global enterprise digital and agility transformations. So we're talking about codified patterns from real-world successes and failures.
That real-world part is it's absolutely critical. It means if you're using this, you're not just reading some generic white paper. You're getting insights from dozens of actual high-stakes projects.
But it's not only their own internal work. The sources say the knowledge base is supplemented by a partner network of subject matter experts.
So that adds another layer of validation. You have the core IP, and then you have outside experts adding to it.
Exactly. And they also mention the ingesting of a wealth of published material.
So it's this kind of three-pronged approach: proprietary experience, partner expertise, and the latest published research. It's how they can get so specific with the advice.
Okay, so we get the engine. Now let's see how that translates into actual tangible advice. The sources get into some very specific areas.
Good. Let's move on to the applications.
The first one they talk about is a big one for any enterprise. Design, develop, and optimize the software and IT lifecycle. This is where so many teams get bogged down.
And this is where that codified experience really starts to pay off, by targeting those common bottlenecks. For instance, teams can get advice on designing and deploying auto-requirements authoring tools.
And that matters because it solves a huge pain point. Think about how much time product owners spend on just, compliance and documentation.
Instead of actually designing valuable features.
Right. So this kind of automation frees up your senior people by streamlining how they create and manage their product backlogs. It's a direct efficiency gain.
But it goes deeper than just recommending a tool. The system also gives you advice on potential risks and issues.
Which is the kind of foresight you traditionally pay a ton of money for from a human consultant.
A human consultant might take weeks to even spot a systemic risk.
And here, the system can flag it immediately because it's cross-referencing against its 10 years of data. It sees the pattern.
And the advice is practical. It's not just some big report. A team can take the recommended mitigation actions and add them straight into their product backlog.
So you're operationalizing the advice instantly. You're connecting the solution directly to the work,
Exactly. The last piece under this IT lifecycle area is guidance on the design and deployment of complex and automated testing.
which is critical.
Ah.
If your testing is slow, your entire transformation grinds to a halt. You can't have continuous delivery without continuous testing.
So getting structured advice there keeps things moving without sacrificing quality. Okay, let's pivot to the second major theme. This one feels very current.
It is. Business operations, automation, and modernization using AI.
Not just AI for AI's sake.
No, not at all. The focus is on practical, applied AI. How do you use it to make your current operations faster and cheaper? And how do you do it with a clear plan?
To get that high return, the system helps teams with a step that, honestly, a lot of them skip. It generates advice to help them efficiently identify duplication and conflict in their workflows.
That step is so necessary. You know the saying, if you automate a mess, you just get a faster mess.
Right.
You have to identify that duplication first, because that's how you identify where the implementation of generative AI for the greatest benefit. You clean up the process, then you apply the expensive AI.
Makes perfect sense. And in today's world, you can't just throw AI at a problem without thinking about the consequences.
Absolutely not. The regulatory and public scrutiny is just too high.
Which is why the source material really emphasizes a required governance element. It ensures that any AI design and implementation aligns with the necessary ethics and governance practices.
And this is a really important point. Ethics can be a vague term, but what this suggests is the system provides a kind of compliance checklist.
A framework.
A framework, yes, to help teams avoid those big regulatory mistakes and build something that's viable in the long run, because governance is baked in from the start.
So we have this deep knowledge base. It's applied to core IT and to this complex new world of governed AI, but powerful claims need proof.
They do. And this brings us to validation. The sources cite a really credible testimonial from Dr. Nick Gaunt.
He was the Chief Information and Knowledge Officer at the NHS Institute for Innovation and Improvement.
That's a serious endorsement. I mean, the NHS is a benchmark for scale and complexity, if it works there.
It's a pretty good sign, and the quote itself just nails the value proposition we've been talking about.
Yeah, he said Monetical provided immediate and cost-effective access to the right enterprise digital expertise. Immediate, cost-effective, the right expertise.
It hits all 3 points. Which brings us to the final question for you, the listener. How do you actually get your hands on this to test it out?
Right, without making some huge upfront commitment.
And the sources are really clear about this. They offer a 30-day free-of-charge evaluation. It's designed to be a low-risk way to see if it works for your specific challenges.
And it's not just a generic trial. They've broken the evaluation down into these really specific services.
Right, I saw that. Things like product management office, AI agent readiness, so you can see if your PMO is even ready for this stuff.
And another one, optimize your enterprise agility, which is more of a systemic check on your whole transformation.
They also mention a series of capability assessments and intelligent retrospective assessments.
That last one is interesting. Learning from past projects in a structured way.
It shows they're targeting different roles in project phases, whether you're worried about product management, overall agility, or just learning from what you've already done.
It's a smart way to let people validate the specific part of the system that could replace a high-cost consultant for them.
And finally, getting in touch with them seems to mirror the speed of the service itself. Email or a form, and they promise a response within 24 hours.
So to wrap up what we've covered in this deep dive, we've looked at this dual promise of speed and depth.
A promise that's backed up by that 10-year track record of real-world transformation work.
Exactly. And we've seen how that expertise is applied to 2 key areas. First, improving the IT and software lifecycle, especially around risk and testing.
And second, providing that governed ethical guidance for AI modernization, making sure you're focusing on the areas with the biggest benefit.
Right.
So what does this all mean for you, managing your own projects and budgets? Here's the final thought. If you could instantly access decades of documented global digital transformation expertise, what would be the first external consultant cost you'd cut from your next project budget?
That is the strategic question, isn't it? Thank you so much for sharing your sources and joining us for this deep dive into this shift from human to digital expert delivery.
And a huge thank you to you for tuning in to the deep dive. We really hope you continue to explore the ideas we've covered today. Until next time.